What are we talking in terms of like the growth of esports? Because before this show, I like to come in pretty fresh to ideas in this show. I like to, because that's how the audience of the listeners are normally. They haven't researched, a whole lot about said guest or whatever the field is. But I also do a little bit of research, in preparation. And I remember reading a bunch of reports and so forth on the rise of esports. So what are we actually talking? Like, how many people are actually playing esports? How much people are playing video games in comparison to 20 years ago? Like, what does it actually look like?
Sure. So the first thing to denote is the difference between esports and gaming.
Yeah.
So if you take the difference between sport and a leisure activity and then transpose that to esports as sports and leisure activity as gaming. So if you're just kicking a footy with your mates down at the beach, that's not sport. You're more just having a bit of fun.
You're real competitive.
Exactly. The same way that if you're just playing Candy Crush at home, Minecraft, Fortnite, whatever, playing on your mobile, on a PlayStation, on Xbox, on a PC, you're not participating in esports unless there's some sort of structure behind it.
Yep, for sure.
So if you're even competing in Wednesday night mixed netball with a team, you still paid an entry fee.
Yep.
You're still going to win something. It's still a ladder.
Yep.
So it's still a sport. The same way that if you're in the gym doing squats, lifting weights to jump higher, to run faster for footy, that's still participating in the whole ecosystem of sport. The same way that if you were doing aim practice, muscle memory, or you were studying replays to look at strategy to become a better player. So esports is one section of the gaming market. So you've got so many different games that are and aren't esports. Like, for example, Angry Birds, that's not an esport. There's no big competitors. You can't play really against someone. It's not a game that has a high skill ceiling. Whereas with esports, you've got some games that are pure esports, maybe a game like Quake Live or Quake Champions, maybe a game like Counter-Strike that's very focused towards esports. Or you've got some that blur the lines a little bit, like Fortnite, that a lot of the younger people are playing. There's even some Minecraft competitive aspects in there. Other games like Overwatch and League of Legends that pander to both sides of the audience. So as far as, a bit of an idea in the global market, the global games market as a whole total available market is larger than movies and music combined.
What?
There are games out there, for example, I made a LinkedIn post this morning about Roblox, which is a mobile game, which is, once again, gaming. It's mainly aimed at kids who aren't even into Minecraft yet, so quite young kids. That's made $1 billion revenue in the past 2016 when it came out. So the past 3 years, $1 billion revenue, 67%-ish of that is from the US. There's other games like Corinthians Free Fire, which is a mobile game, super popular in Southeast Asia, super popular in Brazil. Global finals for that just happened. The team that won has 700,000 followers on Instagram. There's other things like Ninja, who's the streamer that everybody knows, who's easily making, or in his prime, was easily making over 1.2 mil a month in revenue. He was sponsored by Uber Eats, sponsored by Bonds with a line of undies coming out.
And this is just streaming him playing video games?
Correct, yep.
On YouTube?
Live
streaming?
Or YouTube, Twitch, whatever. YouTube videos, Twitch, across on Instagram, Twitter, all that kind of follow through as well. So those are some of the larger numbers. I mean, there's even another mobile game which I posted.
Hey, can I go back to one thing you said? Because I just want to, before I forget it, I know you got heaps more you want to just keep riffing on about, but I wanted to go back
I got lots of numbers.
I want to go back to, you said the esports or the gaming in total industry is bigger than movies.
Video games.
Video games is bigger than movies and music combined.
Correct.
Since when?
That's a good question. I have to look that up. But it's
That's an incredible statistic.
Yeah, definitely.
That is mental.
And I think it's the fact that it's overlooked all the time because, I mean, if you look at it from the standpoint of these companies, it's the older people that are in charge that haven't grown up with this. So I'll use a direct example. I took a bit of time to talk to some politicians in Victoria. I went to meet with Matthew Guy, who used to be the Liberal, who now used to hold a seat here in Melbourne or Victoria. And I could see his brain figuring out the process when I was talking to him about gaming and opportunities related in that and how governments could become involved. And he was saying that basically, he's like, yeah, actually, my kid plays Minecraft, and every time all of his friends come over, all they want to do is play Minecraft. And while the parent often has it in their mind that, this is just a silly game that just my one child plays, they start to realize that actually every single parent I know, all they do is talk about how much their kids want to play Minecraft and Fortnite. Maybe there isn't an audience here. And maybe the fact that I need to buy a new console every year for my kid for Christmas, maybe all the other parents have to as well. Yeah,
it's like five young kids times 2 or 3 days a week of like 5 hours of engagement each. If you turn that into like movie watching or social media engagement or whatever, that's a huge amount of attention. Really, attention is where it's at. What are we paying attention to? That's what's going to make the most money. So if you break it down like that, and I guess it's the stuff that you don't see. You don't see kids. It's all, younger age brackets. So in my life, in my line of work, in my day-to-day, I don't see people sitting playing video games at all, But that's an incredible stat. So But talk to me. This is a little bit of a tangent,
sure.
but I am interested again in something you just said so sitting down and talking to government. So when you sit down and broach that topic, okay, guys, hey, here's what we want to put forward, and we want to grow the sport of esports. Where are the opportunities for governments to jump in?
There's so many in it. I mean, it's the same thing with brands. So for my business, primarily what we try to do is bring new companies into the industry. And I just say companies as a catch-all, so you can include governments, you can include investors, include brands, anything in there, and try to educate them on ways to enter the market. So one of the biggest government supporters in the world is the state of Georgia in the US. So I just did a podcast with the CEO of a games development studio called Hi-Res. They have 450 employees there, and they just built, I think it was about a $10 million studio and facility to run an esports league out of. The government back end funds 30 cents of every dollar for that. So because of that, they've now got that 450-person games development studio, plus now a whole league, of which there's an Australia team that plays in there that I think just placed 3rd or 4th. So they've all flown over from Australia to live in Atlanta now too. So bringing economic advantage there. Plus this morning I did a podcast with Ali Young, the CEO and founder of Access Replay. They're also based in Atlanta as well. Massive esports facility with 50 plus computers, plus a bar and a full restaurant, all based around gaming and esports. So bringing in the old standard, the Liberal Party think of jobs and growth. I mean, that's some of the very standard one. The other part as well is tourism and bringing big events in here. So the Victorian government, Visit Victoria, they support the MotoGP. They support things in the cricket. They support things in the footy. They also support the Melbourne Esports Open. So when the Melbourne Esports Open happens, that's in the Melbourne Olympic Park precinct across Rod Laver, Margaret Court Arena and the Melbourne Arena. And it's all about gaming. It's all about esports throughout that whole time. And they support that with funding too. And that's a ploy to get people to fly, whether it's from other states, whether it's from overseas, to come in as well, to bring the tourism money into the local space.
Far out. That's mind-boggling. So